Hey guys, welcome everyone. So good to see you all here. My name is Kat Swick and Mike and I will be running the show tonight. Just really quickly, bonus points. If anyone can identify what Mike was doing with the music today. He said he would give $100 million to anyone who knew what he did there.
Debt
If
for
what?
debt for life.
I'll just tell you because nobody knows either of those songs, including myself. The first song was called San Francisco, and the second song was called Missing Kansas City, in honor of the Super Bowl this weekend. So yeah. So whoever you're rooting for, go
All,
team.
all are welcome here, everybody, except the Jets. The Jets are never welcome, and I am distraught by the fact.
Anyway, it's good to be with you all tonight. Like I said, my name is Kat Swick. I was a member of ACE 28, which is the most recent graduating ACE cohort. I taught high school English and theology down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was wonderful. And now I'm back up in South Bend working on the recruiting team for ACE. So it's good to see a few familiar faces and a few new ones as well. And I'm going to kick it over to Mike to introduce himself before we get started here.
Yep, great. Good to be with everyone tonight. As Kat mentioned, my name is Mike Caminello. Many of you have got emails from me over the last couple of weeks and months, so appreciate your patience and forgiveness there. Was a member of ACE 21, taught high school science down in Tampa, Florida. Been back on the team the last 8 years now and oversee our recruitment and admissions efforts. So again, really excited to spend some time with y'all. Thanks for being here.
I think, Mike, if you want to share the slides again, then we can look at the overview for today. So this is kind of what's gonna go on program wise tonight. So we're talking about the intern and ambassador application and timeline. So really quickly, I'll give a brief overview of ACE Teaching Fellows in our 2-year graduate program. And then Mike and I will kind of go back and forth with these pieces. So a little bit of program overview, the ambassador and intern program. We'll look at the application timeline, go through a few tips and tricks briefly, and then we'll kind of open it up to some question and answer at the end. If at any point during the presentation you have a question, you feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll either answer it in live time or we'll table it for the end. So that's kind of the overview of what tonight's programming will look like. We love to start all of these with our mission statement here, just so that we can situate what we're doing in terms of the greater mission of ACE. So in the University of Notre Dame's Alliance for Catholic Education, passionate college graduates serve students and families as teachers in under-resourced Catholic schools, grow as leaders while earning a cost-free master's, and joyfully share their faith in the communities in which they work and live. So there's basically 3 things going on here. We're performing professional educators, and that's the Masters of Education portion of that, and the teaching portion. We're building community. It is the root of everything that we're doing. We're doing it together, and we want to step into these communities and give them our all, and live in community with one another, and make sure that we're doing that intentionally. And the last part there bleeds into everything that we do all the time, is growing spiritually. We're serving Catholic schools, which means that we get the really unique opportunity of putting on our Catholic identity, and entering into these communities with the intention of growing spiritually wherever you may be on that journey at the moment. A little bit of what goes on just at like a large scale with the Teaching Fellows program, which is the 2-year graduate program. You get a cost-free, debt-free degree from the University of Notre Dame. So you get that Master's of Education. This happens through 2 summers of coursework at Notre Dame. So you're physically on campus for 8 weeks over the summer, taking these Master's of Ed classes, learning how to be a professional educator. You get 2 years then of full-time teaching during the academic year, where you will be a full-time teacher in your own classroom in one of these cities across the country. You live in community both over the summer in a dorm style living, and once you move out to your city in smaller intentional communities. And then, like I mentioned before, you just get to grow in faith. We have the commitment to holistic formation, which comes with the ideals of Catholic education. And so we want to make sure that we're forming ourselves as people of faith, so that we can go inform our students as well. I'm gonna kick it back to Mike then, and he can talk a little bit more about the actual meat of what we're looking at today, the ambassador and intern program.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kat. So for folks that have attended some webinars in the past, you'll know that there are other webinars that we offer that really get into the meat of the 2-year program. And if you're interested in learning more, happy to answer questions here, but would certainly invite you to those other webinars. Tonight, we're going to take a deep dive into what I call year 0, right? The ambassador and intern program. And so to make sure we share a common vernacular, these two programs are the same in all ways, except for one major difference. The ACE Ambassadors program is for undergraduate students who do not currently attend the University of Notre Dame. The internship program is for students who do attend Notre Dame. The internship program has been around for about 16, 17 years now. The ambassador program is heading into year 6 or 7, I believe. But both kind of get at, as Kat sort of described, this formation that I'll get into in greater detail here. So if you take nothing else away from tonight's presentation, it's these 2 words. When we conceptualized and built out this kind of pre-commit program, this early commit program for undergraduate seniors here at the University of Notre Dame, the 2 words that kind of define everything that we do is that first and foremost, it is a formation experience, and it's also a relational experience. So on the formation side, and I'll share more about this in a moment, everyone who is accepted as an intern or an ambassador is automatically enrolled into teaching fellows upon their graduation. It's a beautiful thing, folks. No career fairs your senior year. You're done with the post-grad college search. After spring of your junior year, life is good, right? But rather than seeing that simply as a kind of a benefit and a gift to yourself, one of the things that we challenge our interns and ambassadors to think about is, how do we then begin to use our senior year not so much to discern what comes next after graduation, because that's kind of set in stone, though there are some details there to still sort out. But how can you grow as an effective teacher for the future students and families that are going to be entrusted to your care? Where are you today as an individual? Where do you want to be for your kiddos? And what sort of experiences and opportunities and mentorship can you receive as a senior to supplement all the other extracurricular and formation experiences that you're already pursuing in order to be a better teacher for your kiddos? The other piece of this is the relational aspect. And this is where we will ask you all to help us think about and construct the remainder of your cohort. We think this is a really important ministry. We'll share more about it here in just a second, but our interns and ambassadors have the unique privilege and opportunity to accompany their peers as they're discerning this call to the classroom. And in many ways, these individuals will form and shape your experience. These are the folks that will join you for class during the summer, that you'll live with in community. I think about my own experiences, individuals who stood next to me at my wedding, and friends for life, right? So how do we invite and encourage folks to accompany us in our journey as Catholic school teachers, and then also to support this ministry of Catholic education? So let me unpack for a second what each of these dimensions looks like more concretely. So on the formation side first, as I sort of mentioned, the internship and ambassador program does guarantee acceptance into ACE Teaching Fellows upon your graduation, with the caveat of, folks, you have to graduate from undergrad. I have total confidence that you will, but because we are a graduate program, I always like to put that little asterisk. Keep doing what you're doing great, but you got to finish and see through and make sure the job is done. When we think about what it means to grow as a teacher for your kiddos, we come back to the 3 pillars, right? So when we challenge our interns and ambassadors to grow as professional educators, we're going to require and encourage you to take up commitments during your senior year that puts you in the presence of and in front of and alongside students. That could be through student teaching experiences that you have. Notre Dame offers a Tutor ND program, tutoring local and national Catholic school students in our ACE schools. So we will help you shape and form that opportunity, but you'll have opportunities and at-bats to work with students. You have the opportunity to cultivate relationships with our faculty and staff, right? We recognize for many folks, this transition into ACE into graduate school can be a steep one. And so to be able to both get to know and for us to get to know you all and for you to get to know our faculty and staff, I think one helps folks begin to think about and more realistically view what their time in ACE will look like, but then also build those sense of supports that are going to walk with you both professionally, but as well as personally and spiritually throughout your 2 to 3 years in the program. And again, there are some opportunities that we will build in structurally for personal, professional, and spiritual growth, opportunities for retreats and institutes that I'll share more here about in just a moment. But I think one of the privileges that I've seen having had the chance to walk with our interns and ambassadors over the last number of years, you all will have the opportunity to build community and challenge one another to grow. And so we've seen our interns and ambassadors do everything from attend masses together, either here on campus or virtually, to gathering together for community dinners and prayer, to fun bowling nights and everything in between, right? So how do you all encourage and call one another into this formation that you've all kind of accepted an invitation to? And on the relational front, I would say that this is the more outward facing dimension of the internship or ambassadors program. And really, it comes down to being a peer minister to others on your campus as they're discerning a call to ACE and whatever it is that God's calling them to. Again, I just want to for a second harken back to the formation piece for a second, because again, I would argue that accompanying a college student, a junior or senior who may be thinking about ACE, is actually not all that different from accompanying a high school junior or senior as they're thinking about the college admissions process, or a middle school student who is wrestling with something at home and really just needs a teacher to listen and to mirror questions to him or her, right? So again, I think even in this relational dimension of the internship, that formation there is front and center, right? This experience is going to help you grow and be an effective educator for your kids. So what does this look like? This is the paid dimension of the internship. So interns here at the University of Notre Dame are paid hourly for their work here on campus. Our ACE ambassadors earn a $500 stipend around Christmas time, mostly so you can buy Kat and I a nice Christmas gift. Kidding, folks, you can use it as you wish. But that'll be for work such as representing ACE at career fairs or post-grad service fairs, grabbing lunch or coffee with folks, representing ACE in various sorts of ways on your campus. And you can see some examples here on the slide here on the right. Ultimately, I think that this ministry was born out of a realization that, at least in ACE, I think the Holy Spirit works most powerfully when ACErs are with one another, right? That sense of kind of peer support ministry. Kat, myself, and others on our team, happy to support with and walk with our prospective candidates. But again, it means a great deal when someone can come into your dorm room or chat with you after class, and maybe sort of turn it off a little bit and be truly authentic without worrying about, hey, what does the recruiter think about me? Or, what should or shouldn't I ask in front of an admissions counselor, right? So we value that perspective and that sense of security and familiarity that you all bring in those conversations, and certainly will help support you in navigating those conversations as well. So again, excited to chat more about kind of this big picture questions you have about the program. I'm going to kick it back to Kat for a second to talk a little bit about application timeline, kind of tips and tricks heading into application season here.
Thanks so much, Mike. So you guys all have gotten emails and communication that the application is now open, which is super exciting. We're so happy about. For this ambassador intern early commit timeline, you have until March 26th to submit that application. Decisions will be released April 19th. So the few weeks leading up to that is when we'll be doing interviews. And then the commitment deadline is April 26th. So by the time you leave campus this year, you could know what your post-grad experience will be, which is super exciting. If for some reason you decide to apply then next year, these are our fall and spring timelines for fall 24 and spring 25. So the fall timeline, the deadline will be the application will be due October 29th, with decisions coming out before Christmas, and the commitment deadline before Christmas. And then the spring timeline is January 21st, with decisions coming out around spring break. So those are the two for next year. The Early Commit Institute is when we bring all of our early commits on campus over the summer and invite them into a little bit of a community, a little bit of retreat, and kind of just like background on what's going on, what work we're sending you out to do. And that'll be June 23rd through 26th, 2024. So if you're admitted into the intern or ambassador program, we'll invite you to campus during those times. Mike, did you want to say anything else about that?
Nope, I think that covers it. We'll come back if folks have questions about it in the Q&A.
Great. Um, just want to run through some application tips very briefly. I want to point out before I get started here that we do run separate webinars for application tips and tricks, and we'll have at least one in March before your deadline. And so if you want to like a little bit more detail, or as you start filling it out, if you feel like you want a refresher on all of this, feel free to join us for one of those. And I think Mike will talk a little bit more about specific dates with that later. So just if you feel like I'm going fast, that's why. There's four, can you go back? Sorry. There's four major components to our ACE application. The first is biographical and educational background. That's your basic application material type things. The second is a program upload, where we ask you to write a series of 200 to 250 word short essays. The third piece is placement considerations, where you feel called to go, what you feel called to teach. And the fourth is letters of recommendation. So with the biographical and educational background, you will upload a resume, and we invite you to tailor that specifically to teaching. So any education or volunteer or work experience that you think you would like to show that would help prove that you can be a teacher, and that you would do great with this program with working in service and community. With an unofficial transcript, we ask you to upload just wherever you are in your academic journey. You should be able to just download a PDF and upload it, or take a screenshot, so that we can see where you're at there. We have a test optional policy, so you don't have to submit any test scores for us. But if you think that it would be helpful to include ACT, SAT, GRE scores, you are welcome to do so and report those on there. With our program upload, we have our personal statement, which is really just going to look like, why are you going to make a great ACE teacher? And then additionally, 5 short essays. So these all, I honestly think they were fun to write. They helped me in my own discernment. They will help you get to know a little bit more about yourself and be able to just write the qualities and experiences you've had that will make you a great teacher. My advice with these is just to be as specific as possible, because it'll help you to stand out so much more if you speak to your unique experiences. So just get really specific, tell one story. We only give you 200 words and then we cut you off. And so it helps you to be more specific as well as us as we're reading these. The third piece with the placement considerations, this is how it looks on the application, where we have split the country into regions, and we ask how willing and open you are to going to each region. Some people have reasons why they need to be closer to home. Some people are looking for an adventure and would like to be farther away from home. And this is the first year that we've invited people to share that on the application. So it's just very helpful for us as we're looking at our partner schools and where the need is across the country, as well as where you're willing to go. To be completely open with you, it is just more helpful. The more open you can be on this, it's just easier for us as we're doing placement together. That's not to say that you'll get in or not based on what you put here. Like we put this on here for a reason, and we really do want to know your desires and needs. But it is helpful when you can open yourself up a little bit more to that displacement piece, in discerning where you think that you might be called. The other piece on that one is just grade level and content area. So you get to preference which content areas you would feel most comfortable teaching, and what grade level you can rank them to second grade through high school. Last but not least, our letters of recommendation. We ask for 3 and no more than 4. So 2 of them we'd love to be from professors or academic advisors, someone who's seen you in an academic setting and can vouch for you on that front. The last one is more community or spirituality oriented. So a lot of times we'll get a campus minister, a service coordinator, a rector or hall director, a coach, etc. Someone who's seen you outside of the classroom in a leadership position or in a community oriented setting. The tips here, the biggest thing I would say is when you get to this part, you want to waive your right to access the letter of rec. This just means that you trust whoever you've asked to write, that they will write good things about you and that you don't need to look at it beforehand. You need to at least request your letters of rec before submitting the application, but they do not all need to be in by the time you submit. We ask that letters of rec are in 48 hours before your interview slot, which once we get to that, you'll get to choose. The last piece I would say here is just, if you have a sense of who you're going to ask them on the forefront. As someone who wrote a lot of letters of rec for my seniors the last 2 years, please do not request it like a couple days or a week before it's due. I would just go and get on this sooner rather than later.
Alrighty, folks, just as we wrap up here, because I want to leave time for Q&A, I'm going to drop one final link into the chat. That link will take you to kind of our webinar and events page. Here's the deal, folks. Recognize that there's a lot that goes into your discernment. We want to be super supportive and helpful to you all. At the end of the day, we love and are excited for folks to do ACE and serve with ACE, but really just want to help you figure out where God's calling you to and make it happen. So number of ways that we can make that or support you in that. Obviously, join us for other webinars. If you're here on campus or in South Bend, swing by. If you want to make the trip to campus, happy to schedule a day of visits where you can get to know members of our team, shadow courses or professors who are teaching during the semester that are around during the summer. But would most importantly just encourage you to meet with different members of the team, especially as you're developing your application when it comes to resume edits, short essay edits. Folks, if you want folks to look over something in your application, feel free to schedule a time. We're happy to walk through it with you. This isn't something that you need to do alone. And as many of you are probably aware, we have a pretty large team. So we are divided by campuses and different majors and content areas. So if you use the tools on our website, you'll get directed to the right person, but know that you're happy. We're all happy and willing to chat with you. Just want to be most helpful again to y'all here.